Hello, this is Sarah Callie Cox with Thoughts at Midnight. We have our co-hosts
Alex Hodge.
Kevin
and
Gallagher.
Alex. You want to take it away?
Woo! So, summer 2021. Can we believe it? We got birthdays that are coming up, and mine will be coming up shortly in June 17th. Gotta work my birthday though, but I'm celebrating it on the 20th. Hoorah! So, working class citizen. Sometimes we got to work our birthdays. We got to plan for contingencies, don't we all? So I was just thinking, I I treat my birthdays like I treat New Year's, like New Year's resolutions, but they're not even resolutions. I'm almost into my 30s, and I ask myself the question, as I'm really getting interested and into psychology, Carl Jung, alchemy, diet, self-care, self-improvement. Names like Alan Watts, Friedrich Nietzsche, Freud, Jung. These are interests of mine these days, and I'm turning 28 this coming birthday. So,
And I'll be 29.
yeah. So I got to thinking. And Callie, how old are you gonna be if you don't mind sharing?
26. This July 24th.
So 26 Callie, 29 Kevin, 28 me. So what kind of crazy shit are we gonna learn about ourselves this year? Oh my
All
God.
kinds of things.
Because I remember back back in the day.
Back to the
my
future.
my 25th birthday, that was a bucket list year for me. And I went skydiving. So, yeah. So skydiving was, I'm an aviation nutcase. And it was one of those things that I finally had have the means and the physicality, but not only that, but just so free. I always tell people, like, every now and then I'll quote this where I'll say, it's nice not to be young anymore, isn't it? For what we've been through. For what we've been through, people say as they get older, oh, well, you're saying that now, are you? Well, kind of true.
It's true.
It's true. For what we've been through, it is nice not to be young anymore. Because now it's as if our adult life has been waiting for us. With all the disability and the, diagnosis and the neurosis and psychosis, all these words, all these labels, all these symbols. But one of the things that I learned from Alan Watts is that that's all they are. They're symbols, they're compartmentalized, they're abstractions that were taken and given a name. They were given a symbol, right? Every word's made up, right? Every word's made up.
Yeah.
So who are we really? Who am I really? I go back to when I was a child, even before I even knew what words meant. That's who I really am. An organism in an environment. I do this meditative practice where I go back into that state and I try and remind myself where I came from. And we all have that within us. So birthday's coming up. I don't know. Any suggestions? What kind of crazy shit am I gonna learn this year? Because I'm getting into like Friedrich Nietzsche, Carl Jung. I listened to Jordan Peterson and his like podcasting. This is kind of new to me. I'm learning as I'm going with this as well.
To me, it's like radio hosting.
Yeah. So Kevin, 29.
Me, I treat them all like every other day. Anymore.
Like every other day of the year. I get that. And it is. Every day should be that. It's a gift. We don't know we're going to wake up tomorrow. Think about it.
Yeah.
When we get old, we start to realize that more and more as we get older. I'm excited, and I don't know about you, Callie, but I've noticed that after the events of 2020, the lockdown, separation, um, Zoom calls, and personal connection. I was just at the beach today on a date, and I was just at the beach today, and just a day to be me. That's another thing that we're doing. Um, and I realized that people are a lot more welcoming now. I, I had people saying hi, they're waving hi, they're saying what up, and they're almost like they know me. And I think it's because this connection has been lost. We know what it is. It used to be when I'd say hi to someone, they won't even respond. Or if anything, they'll keep doing about their own business. No, now they respond. They say hi back. People seem to be a lot more approachable now because they missed the point. They missed it. And now that we've had 2020 hit, they don't know what they've lost until they've actually lost it. They lost the connection. Connection's back.
2012 was too late.
And connection is back. And I noticed that people are just getting a lot more approachable, a lot more friendly. And my hope is that for, men out there, I'm hoping that sometime, women and family law becomes a bit more friendly towards dating and in the manosphere, I hope it becomes a lot more friendlier as these years go on, because we're starting to realize that connection, we've lost it for a whole year. We don't know how valuable that is until we've lost it, and a lot of people have lost it. Now we've regained it. So I've noticed people are a lot more approachable. They're waving hi, they're saying, "What up, man?" And I'm saying, "Yeah, how's it going,
Not
guys?"
me,
They're
I
actually
grew up in
approaching
that type of environment.
finally one-on-one. I can talk to you. They're not like, yeah, whatever. No, they're actually waving back, and it's like it's good to see that. I'm hoping that people realize what they've lost during 2020 and realize that the connection, it is important. We are meant to interact like that.
So back to birthdays. You were saying, Alex, that you differentiate between New Year's and birthday.
Yeah. So my birthday, I think about what am I going to be what do I want? What do I want my 28th year of my life as an individual, as a free adult who's made it this far? What do I want this to look like? What kind of skill sets do I want to learn? And what kind of what do I want to do? What do I want to do with it? I got this 28th year ahead of me. I ask, what do I want? But another thing that I ask is, am I on par with my age? Am I on par with my age? And what I mean by that is, am I an 18-year-old in a 28's body? Screw that. No, I'm a 38-year-old in 28's body. That's what I want.
I was an adult in a kid's body.
Kevin, I know the feeling. When I was in high school, I felt like an adult trapped in a kid's body. But man, and what a body it was. Screw that guy.
Yeah, that's when I was in elementary and middle. I always felt out of place.
Probably because your brain is developed in areas that made you more adult-like, and your adult life was probably just waiting for you to grow into it,
Might have came a quicker, faster puberty.
Doesn't puberty just get in the way?
I don't know.
Get in the
There's a
way
lot of
sometimes.
weird biology stuff that goes on. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. I even had a rare blood disorder.
Okay.
Very rare.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Leukemia also runs in our family.
Okay.
And yeah, my legs didn't grow right. So I
Okay.
had to be trained. But my blood cells are multiplying so fast, my white blood cells can't keep up.
Okay.
I'm producing more blood than I can.
Then your body is compensating for. I gotcha. Then your
Yeah,
white blood cells are compensating for. I gotcha.
I have.
Okay. Are there
I
things are there things you can take care of yourself for that can help that? Is there any like self-care training that you're doing to become as like normal and not normal, but you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
as like
yeah.
functional as it can be? Yeah? Yeah, good.
It's
Good.
very interesting to learn
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
blood is.
I've done a lot of research on it, and I've helped a little bit too.
Yeah, I know. I've been exposed to high levels of carbon monoxide poisoning for
Yeah,
almost 20 years
Jeez.
and
yeah,
lived through it
You made it. Wow.
because of my dad. He installed it wrong. He was actually the hot water heater was blown, or the
Oh,
instead of going up the chimney, he had it going down. So it
and
was
it goes
blowing it straight back in.
went into the ductwork in the house. Oh,
Yeah, and the
you're lucky.
furnace,
You're lucky, Kevin.
and he never replaced the filter. And it wasn't one of the modern filters. It had metal mesh and everything. A filter that wasn't even
Fixed
from
now,
the
right?
90s.
It's fixed up now, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, good.
I'm breathing fresher air now.
Yeah,
And yeah,
But
that
that takes a while to recover.
yeah.
it'll
See,
carbon
this is what I
monoxide,
mean
however long
about.
you've been exposed, it will take just as long for you to recover. Basically, have to wait 20 years again for it to fix itself.
See, and this is why I'm so I stress very highly about competence, hierarchies of competence, being functional and being able to do, and not to mention installing things right to prevent things like this from happening. See, this is
Well,
why I'm
my
very
dad
big on
had
people.
dementia, and he was an alcoholic and a smoker.
My
So
uncle,
his brain slowly degraded over time, and when we got sick or something, then yeah, because I would always be tired and sleepy all the time, but I didn't know why until now. So the carbon monoxide created a brain fog, and I wasn't able to determine it because it was basically meshing it over to not think about it as much.
oh man,
Yeah,
well, live through it, and but you're getting fully recovered now.
yeah.
That reminds me, my family had a incident with the Bauer House. Yeah, and this is why I stress very highly about when it comes to drinking and alcoholism and addiction and mental illness. And, this is why I stress
Yeah,
competence and dominance hierarchies very highly, is to
yeah.
prevent things like this from happening. My uncle Matt,
Mhm.
you know, he's sorry to bring it on a depressing note, but part of him has died and he's heading that way. Um, and I went through an incident with the house. The Bauer house has been sold. Like they
Mhm.
got, but I'm proud of my cousin. Bring it back to a positive note. My cousin, he lived through it. Having a father like that, um, and seeing who my cousin is today, he's individualized himself into who he is, and it's completely almost separate from the family. He's developed his own individuality. He's got a girlfriend and he just got a house for himself, my Aunt Marcia. I'm proud of him. He made it through that. And
Yeah, my
it
dad
almost
started smoking at age
can't
9, back when
imagine-
the laws didn't even exist.
yeah. So I can only imagine the resourcefulness that these people develop, because when you're on your own like that with a limited support network, like
Yeah,
alcohol
his
father.
dad was
Hang on a second.
drunk. He threw him the keys to the car and he would drive him home as a kid.
Right. 1 second, Kev. So, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Yeah.
So right. So I'm proud of my cousin for coming through that. I can only imagine the amount of resourcefulness that these people develop. That's where I was, where there's lacking of um, support network, but these people become extremely resourceful and they make it themselves, and they make their own competence hierarchies and skill sets and here and there, and they figure themselves out. So my cousin lived through it, and he's got a house now, girlfriend, and here's the thing, like I don't really have a steady girlfriend per se. Hopefully, ladies out there, you know, I mean, I'm and I don't want, fucking, daughters. I want women, like a woman, life experience. You know, I don't want daughters. I don't want, I want a woman, someone that I also turn to for when crap hits the fan. It's very rare. There's no unicorns out there. I'm starting to learn red pill awareness and red pill lens about nature of women and why it is the way it is. Part of it's because women mature physically first before men do. That's why there's typically an age
I
gap.
already knew that.
That's why there's typically an age gap between relationships. Usually the man's older. But back to my cousin, it's awesome. And I'm hoping to reach back out to him again and um get to know him again. He doesn't know me very well. Like we kind of live separately during the past, like, our adult lives. He doesn't really know my adult life. I think Nick mostly remembers me as that kid with autism. He hasn't really seen me for a long time. He hasn't really gotten to know like my adult life and the values and things that I've learned. So, and my taste, well, for one, my taste in music. He's very into music, so he's still trying to figure me out on that end. Nick,
I'm into way too
Oh,
much.
pretty soon you'll figure me out. What my musical likes are. Shout out to my cousin Nick. He's awesome. I mean, I can only imagine the amount of resourcefulness that he developed to overcome my Uncle Matt. A person like that, my Uncle Matt. This is why I stress mental illness, alcoholism, drug addiction as things that just knock you down, things that knock people off the competence hierarchy. Cut that crap out. Or cut out the crap that you can deal with, and then it will spiral you upwards. Like clean
Find
up your
some way to get into a rehab center.
or even start off with something trivial like clean up a room. If you see something that's bothering you that you can go take care of, have them, learn that habit to go take care of it. Like we need to learn this stuff as we are now because we don't want to become that. We don't want to become something that someone that's knocked off the hierarchy of life. We don't want to become alcoholic and in dementia and have to go through that. No, we this is why we learn from other people's mistakes so we don't make them.
Yeah.
Well, you're drinking gasoline anyway. That's basically what alcohol is. Ethanol.
I've seen it start a Dodge Charger once.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they put I think they did this on Mythbusters. They poured I think it was some kind of vodka or something. They poured it into the gas
High proof.
and
Yeah.
it ran for a little
180
bit.
proof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How long did it for?
I know how
I
to make
can't believe you.
biodiesel
Yeah.
for diesel. You can actually use vegetable oil, raw vegetable oil too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it done.
Yeah, don't
It's
don't drink
cool.
that. Don't drink that shit. That's not nectar of the gods, by the way. That's synthetic alcohol. That is not nectar of the gods. I know the typical excuse for alcoholics was nectar of the gods.
Well, the Greeks
Is it?
were alcoholics.
Is it? Are you becoming more godlike? No. This is hurting you. Get it together.
Well, they didn't know back then. All they cared about was
Right. But we got to
drinking
be
and
firm with them. We got to be firm with these guys. Tell them the truth. Grounded in truth. This is where they're at right now. They can't see it otherwise. Someone's got to tell it as it is. It's not nectar of the gods. Come on, get it together.
Even Egyptians.
Well, I think the Egyptians, though, they were much more in tuned with nature. Their alcohol was natural. There was natural based alcohol. There's some alcohol that's actually good for you in moderation. This is why I don't drink like NASCAR soda or the hard stuff. No, usually if I go out to drink, I'll get something that vodka. Vodka's good. I mean, that's actual based on, I think it's like plant and leaves and stuff. It's distilled from that. But the synthetic hard stuff like
Abstinence.
NASCAR soda, like Coors Light and the junk and the low quality, that's when it becomes an addiction. You're basically drinking synthetic alcohol piss, you know. No, that's not nectar
Well,
of the
it's
gods.
made
Get
from
it together.
barley, leap,
Time
and
to wake up.
leaps
Time to
and
wake up.
hops.
Because I think we should know what it does to people. It knocks them off the competence hierarchy, you know.
If not used in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah, opium.
And
That's
I get it though,
addictive.
because addiction comes from a source of pain. What problem is the pain that's bothering you? Delve into the problem. It's kind of scary to do that because you don't know how deep that rabbit hole can go, you know, until you've completely integrated your shadow into your persona and recognize that you got that devil on your shoulder that's where is this pain coming from, you know, and could you do something about it to dispense with that pain and go solve it so you don't have to mask it anymore with alcohol, so you don't have to mask it anymore with drugs or addiction. Solve the riddle to your heart by taking care of little trivial things like habits and clean up your room. You know, Jordan Peterson, he talks about this, you know, especially with young people, college students, you know. You see what university, you know, we got the SJW culture. You know, we've got these kids that are just can't make it. I guess I hate to put it that way, but the SJW culture is a mess.
It's
Start out with
so
something that we can handle. Like, what can we handle that can make things better? And start with that, if anything. Got nothing better to do. Why keep aiming down? Once you've hit the wall, you can only go up.
Yeah. So, Alex, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the birthday thing that we started with.
Yeah, let's bring it around back to.
We were talking in a previous phone call about things that we look back on in the past that we need to cut out of our lives, that we just need to drop and let go of. What are some things that you need to let go of from this past year?
There are a couple people, I guess, like associates that I could let go of. One of them is within my other. I don't want to name it, but
Yeah.
my biological family. Snip. I gotta cut them out because, yeah, not that hard. Not that hard for me to do. Really isn't that hard for me to do because I know who's my family.
Yeah.
I think I could also let one of the things that I want to grow out of is my dark side towards competition. That's something that I'm trying to work on. Is my darker kind of psychopathic side towards looking at competition. I said something relatively dark in 2020. I couldn't believe I said it, but it slipped out. It was a Freudian slip. Speaking of Freud psychologists out there who are studying Sigmund Freud, a Freudian slip is where you say something that you subconsciously mean, but you cannot believe that you said it. It's a flip. Like, you know, I didn't, you know.
Sigmund Freud has got it
Or
going
Freudian
on.
slip. So I said, you know, during 2020, because I was pretty pissed off about the whole about the whole conspiracy theory behind the Wuhan lab, China. It almost made me want to join the military. Glad I didn't. But I wanted to get into the devil on my shoulder when it comes to competition. I couldn't believe I said this. And Callie pointed out that this stems from my childhood experience with people who I couldn't compete with at the time, and I probably still can't. I hate that. I don't like that feeling of having lost and having to keep losing to these people. But I've learned now that they're probably just as messed up as I am. They're just hiding it better. Everybody's messed up in some way. Other people are better at hiding it than others.
Do you mind explaining what your slip up was?
So my slip, my mom was explaining to me that, people are dying. There's people that are, it's a pandemic. It's a horrible thing that's happening to the world. And I kind of just flipped up. I said, well, less competition. Less
votes.
Less competition, more resources to provide to people who, and I couldn't believe I said that. Later on, I couldn't believe I said it. I was like, wow, I got to put myself in check here. But then again, it felt good. It felt good to let that devil out of the cage because of my experience when it comes to competition. When I was a kid, like Kyle explained, part of that is where that stems from. I've learned that tragedy for the many is opportunity for the few. That's another dark thing that I said about the pandemic, because there's a lot of tragedy was going on, right? People are canceling weddings. I hate to sound dark and selfish, but opportunity for the few. I'm in it to win, and I can honestly say I don't care as much. That's part of my dark side that I'm trying to recognize about when it comes to competition. But I'm really attempting to work on that. Like it's an angry part of the devil on my shoulder that I'm trying to identify that it's there, and I'm trying to understand it and dispense with some of the stupid mindsets that I'm getting into and better myself. So I can just be a better person, more grounded. I couldn't believe I said it, but on the same token though, it felt kind of good. It felt kind of good to have that mindset, that psychopathic, people are kind of falling like flies. Okay.
Absolutely.
See what
I have definitely integrated my shadow a lot, as you have talked about in many phone calls, with like my depression, my anxiety, my psychotic tendencies sometimes.
Yeah, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I'm more psychotic.
Yeah.
But I've learned to love it. I've learned to love those parts of me.
Okay. See, and that's what I'm trying to learn from you. I'm learning from you, Callie, to not hate that part of myself, not like stuff it down, stuff the shadow down. And it's an important thing to realize. You don't want to shame the shadow, because then it just grows harder and darker.
Yeah.
Bring it to light, bring it integrate it into personality, dissolve and integrate. That's what Carl Jung talks about in his psychological writings. Integrate the shadow, recognizing, because that's what makes us a whole human. So it makes us whole. We got our knowledge of good and evil, the apple from the tree of life. It gave us the knowledge of, if you believe that story and the lineage of story, that's what it gave us. It gave us our dark side and our good side as well. But to recognize that we have both, the capacity for both. Callie, I'm learning from you on how to love that part of myself that I would normally like say, why the fuck did I say that? Pardon my French, but why did I say that thing that was so dark? Ooh, shame on me. Stuff it. No, I've actually got to stop doing that. I got to stop doing that. Stop trying to shame the shadow and bring it around and recognize that, okay, I said this kind of dark thing. It's there. I can't ignore it. It's a bad thing to do, to ignore it. because then it grows darker. And I'm trying to learn how to love that part of me and bring it forward when I am competing. So
Yeah.
people don't want to stand in front of something that's relentless.
Definitely, we were talking earlier today about how it feels to let it go when you're able to control it.
Because I'm just a hoe.
Kevin, I've done. I'll bet you have. You've got some experience. You've got like a vault of knowledge that every now and then it does come out. You know a thing or two, don't you?
I'm always good at hitting at the right moment. It's just a habit.
I like that. Using muscle only when necessary, not forcing.
Yeah,
But
I
you know what?
learned that.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes to competition, you're right. It feels good to let the monster out of the cage, yet be able to give it an aim. You know, it's almost like when the Hulk was able to aim his strength to like, when he gave the monster an aim. Um, like when I went skiing, that's when I learned about myself. I really learned a lot about myself when I went skiing, when I went to compete. Um, I let the shadow out. I let that competitive devil on my shoulder. I wanted to see people fall. Um, I wanted to see them fall. I wanted to see them mess up. I didn't want to see them win. No, I wanted to see the ones that fall, so I can just go and nail them. And there's something about what what I'm trying to learn from Callie is how to love that part of me, how to actually be okay with doing that, and have a love for it, have an appreciation for that dark side of my competitive side. It's very psychopathic, and I was listening to a podcast from the Joe Rogan Experience where they were talking about Michael Jordan. Yeah, this guy was a straight up asshole. No offense to Michael Jordan, but he was very psychopathic and competitive, and it's what made him. It's what made him into. It's what made him into what he is. His character. It's what makes you the greatest. But there's a
Logan
real
Paul versus Floyd Mayweather.
there's a real loss in that, though. I think is that you don't really enjoy yourself as much as you could if you weren't that dark about it. And that's what I'm trying to work on. I think I guess what I'm saying is so that I can enjoy the competition more than I normally would, because there's a real loss in becoming the greatest when you're that psychopathic about it. There's a loss in the natural joy of, say, skiing. When I'm up there racing, or skiing, sometimes I enjoy it. I enjoy it, but honestly, no, not really. Like I'm up there to win. I'm up there to kill like everybody. When I'm racing. Um, so and there's a loss in the natural joy, and I'm trying to help people learn to enjoy it. We only get this one shot at life, and to choose to enjoy something is really important. It's a choice. It's a choice that we make. Sometimes we get our feelings and things that from our childhood that stem from our shadows that can really aim us down a particular road where it's not as enjoyable as it could be, but yet the results are a lot larger usually. Like you see Michael Jordan, right? you know, but do you think he's happy? Like, that's one of the things that they were asking, like on the Joe Rogan Experience. Do you think like someone like that who's that competitive and that psychopathic and is just in it to kill everybody? Are they enjoying this, or you like
Just
what is it?
like in the NFL.
Some kind of furnace. There's some kind of hellish furnace. And again, I bring it back around. I figured it out that it's the shadow. It's the shadow part of our psyche and it stems from childhood. I like how Callie explained that it stemmed from a childhood experiences of mine when I was younger. It's one of the reasons why I say it's nice not to be young anymore. I own a house. I make like 30,000 a year, roughly. Yeah, so I'm winning in that part of the competition so far. I've made it. And those that are on welfare, get your lives together. I know that sounds kind of dark, but there's an element of seriousness to that as well. But then
I
again, I'm
live
trying to
off
work on it,
disability.
not take it as seriously. Choose to enjoy it. Enjoy it while I have it, because I could lose it. All this is I could lose it. Don't become too attached to it. Then I get that. So I'm detached. So say if I was to lose out on something, I can come out of it on the other side okay, and not be too jaded and bitter about it. So Callie, the birthday, I was gonna say, oh yeah, I wanted to bring up, Callie and I were talking about the New Year's. I treat New Year's like, because it's in the winter, you got trees that are half dead, they're just dormant, bark's coming off of them. So I treat my New Year's as like, what within me that is holding me down could I kill? What parts of stupid things that I'm thinking or saying or doing that I could stop doing? What could I dispense with? What can I let go of? Kill that part. Light it on fire and make room for new growth. So when my birthday comes around, I don't have all this baggage just holding me down. I've killed it. That's not me anymore. So I can have this room for new forest growth. In the summer. So when birthdays come around, that's when I treat it like a New Year's resolution. What kind of crazy things am I going to get into on my 28th year? Oh my God.
I know what I'm going to do on the 29th either. Or the 10th of my birthday.
On like my 26th birthday, I'm already working on it, but it's definitely a work in progress. Getting out of my living situation. Getting out from, under my parents and really starting life, starting over, new city, same state, but really getting a hold of my life and starting new chapters.
Yeah. Good goal. I think a good way to get there is to take these little micro routines, one steps at a time every day that, and make it habitual, make the positive habits habitual. So
yeah,
what really turned it around is when I started working. When I started working, getting into the workforce environment and learning the things that sucked,
I
things,
miss working.
also
I'm a workaholic. I
yeah,
can work myself to death,
that's
literally.
even having to get told to take breaks from working.
That's
yeah.
what I do. I was raised that way.
Dang. So
Get good grades.
You must have a high trait conscientiousness then. So when it comes to the Big Five personality test, probably high in conscientiousness for sure.
Yeah, I'm very extremely dedicated to my work.
Orderliness and industriousness are good, and high conscientiousness are actually good signs of long-term life success. So accordingly.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
Callie, she'll be right back. So
All right. Ugh. Gonna leave this recording or?
yeah,
Huh.
she'll be back. So
All
right on.
right.
So when is your birthday, Kev?
August 10th of 1992. That's when I was born.
Nice.
Hope you guys were
successful
good
Jesus.
getting around me.
How long?
Good stuff.
So a few of the things that I need to let go of, for the past year, definitely. I know I'm kind of thinking about this ahead of time, but I think I need to start letting go of, relationships that didn't work out, whether that be friends, family, whatever. And I need to let go of some of the toxic relationships that I have now, and definitely being around people who are toxic to me.
I'm not anymore. Since I'm not exposed to carbon monoxide causing weird hallucinations and stuff.
Yeah. Right on. So maybe when winter comes around, Callie, New Year's, and when we can really delve into that, that's when I really dive into that. Like I get into it, where I'm like almost like a tree. I go dormant and I really go through what kind of bark in my brain could I shed? What could I shed instead of light? And make room for new growth. And this and it's probably one of the reasons why I don't really ask for much as far as like Christmas presents or new gifts or stuff. I don't know. I don't really have asked for much because I'm pretty much at a point now where I'm desireless. There's nothing more that I want. There's really nothing more that I want. I'm pretty, and I think that's something. Oh, I want to bring this up. Thanksgiving. The way that I celebrate Thanksgiving is I base it on freedom from want. It's one of the four essential freedoms of the Western civilization. You got freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from fear, and freedom from want. So that one of those four is freedom from want. That's what Thanksgiving celebrates. And that's being free from wanting what we can't control or wanting to, like, being demanding. It's being free from that and being thankful for what we have. And Thanksgiving celebrates the freedom from want. So if you look this up, it's one of the four essential freedoms of the Western civilization, of Western culture, is freedom from want. And when fall comes around, I make it so I don't want any, I don't need any, I'm satisfied. I've done what I wanted to do in the summer. Um, and try to get to a point of desirelessness, of Zen and peace, Zen desirelessness, because desire leads to suffering. That's one of the things that Confucius has discovered. The Chinese have discovered, the Tao, is that desire leads to suffering. So Thanksgiving frees us from the want. It frees us from the suffering of desire. So when winter comes around, New Year's resolutions, I'm more like, what baggage could I leave? So,
Did not mean to do that.
oops.
I know.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars.
What
Let me see
tarnation?
This is Alpha Lima Hotel 617 Heavy, requesting clearance for takeoff from runway
That's
Alpha
10
Niner.
for good
Niner
buddy.
Live.
Why is it not working?
Facepalm. Oh.
That was creepy.
Sound like Gollum. That's great.
My precious.
You,
My precious.
my precious.
My precious, my precious park.
What are we doing?
My brother. Well, we see what happens to Gollum when he becomes too desireful. Like when he's got too much desire for that one little ring.
Lord
you
of the
see
Rings.
what kind of suffering that poor little bastard goes through.
We
For
never
becoming
find out much
too-
about him.
Having too much desire, too much suffering over a dinky little ring. Come now.
Yeah, a magical ring.
See, this is what happens when you desire too much. You become greedy. You become,
Mhm.
free yourself from that. We got this, we got what we want. So, rock and roll. All right, I'm gonna copy a Sunday Sentinel sermon from Pat McNamara here. I'm gonna do a little spin-off. I don't care that it's trademarked. All right. As the agent in charge of your own executive protection detail, Menards parking lot, aka area for disaster planning. When out in a public space, keep your head on a swivel and remember where you parked. Establish en route rally points and objective rally points, and make sure that you and your kiddies have an effective egress when shit hits the fan, because the sheeple don't always have a plan, but you do. Make it habitual. Rock and roll. So that's my Sunday Sentinel sermon. I got that from Pat McNamara. Look him up. Look him up. What was that? Mm. Ah. Oh my God, I love it.
Back, you foul beast!
The power of Christ compels you. Does it, Jay?
The power of Christ compels you!
Okay, succubus.
Does it, Jay? Does it? Is the power of Christ compelling me? That's what's happening.
I
Guess
know.
what? It's not that compelling.
No.
The power of Christ compels you!
Guess what? It's not that
We
compelling.
live in hell.
Oh man, this is awesome.
Literally.
Okay then. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this
Right on.
talk show. Okay,
So what?
this go ahead, Alex.
So I think you want to conclude the talk show and bring it all into tonight, and go and promote your website and your product, and hopefully we can get some people funneled into this more, so we can
Absolutely.
yeah,
The
and we
demon
do
talents you
do this,
too.
little thing here and there, a self-help or self-improvement. Go and promote your website, Callie. Take it away.
Is www.adatetobeme.com. We are currently in the process of switching domains. Yeah, but we'll update you when it's up and ready.
I imagine in
Yeah.
a couple weeks it'll be in. Also want to focus on hopefully getting this out there, marketing it somehow, maybe contacting news organization or something where it can get this what we're doing out there. Logan Center or something where, I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to do this through the Best Buddies program. I'm gonna talk to some people there in the fall and see if they can bring this into our speech and our product into. I'm gonna speak to some buddies of mine from the Best Buddies program and see what they can do. Hopefully spread the word about your thing, and hopefully it'll take off, and at Notre Dame campus or something.
Hopefully this independent
That's
company
gonna be
works
my
out
spread the
well.
word. Right on, Kev. A monster.
Okay, well, this has been Thoughts at Midnight talk show. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Right on.